Ms. Rivera, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
No problem. Thank you for coming. Let me know how I can help you.
Okay, so I've been having this ongoing issue in my classroom. I don't even know where to begin. I guess I should start with this student. He has eloping tendencies, so he will get up and leave the classroom during my instruction throughout the day, but I've noticed it's been more during math. And when he does get up, it's disruptive to the rest of the class because they're like, why is he getting up out of his seat? So he also not only leaves the class, but he gets up, walks around the classroom. He has a tendency to distract other children. He'll pinch them. He'll talk to them. And the problem is the kids, since they're young, they'll feed off of it. So they'll be like, oh, ha, ha, and they'll talk with him back. And it's hard for me to do my job as a teacher when I have 25 students that are already there and there to learn, and then I have one student that is disruptive, and it takes away from everything that I'm doing. You know, I can't do my job with just one student acting like this.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds draining, and I could tell you're doing your best. You know, you're very caring for the rest of the students, but also you want to make sure that the student that's eloping is safe, and you want to re-engage him.
That's what worries me. You know, he not only leaves the classroom, but sometimes he has left the school, and it's our responsibility to take care of him. And since I'm his primary teacher, I just don't even want to think about what would happen if he got hurt when he left.
Yeah, I could only imagine that. That's very worrisome. So what we could do is, so it sounds like there are multiple issues going on. So we could identify a primary one, a general one, that maybe is causing the rest of the behaviors to arise. What do you feel like?
I would say the general problem is that the class can't learn, including this particular student, but I would say it's rooted in his disruptive behaviors, his eloping, his talking to other students, his pinching, his getting up during the class. You know, that's what disallows me from doing my job as a teacher.
Right. And have you tried any methods to figure out the function of the behavior?
You know, when I was trying to solve this on my own, I did an FBA, and I determined the function of his behavior to be escape, because it seems like he only does this during instruction, especially during math, and I know that that is the most difficult for him. So I think he's trying to escape doing the work, and when other kids interact with him, it only helps him to escape from doing the work because now he has other students doing it with him, so he's not alone in escaping the math. And it's also, you know, it's also language arts, but it's predominantly in math.
Okay, so math. And I commend you for taking initiative on doing an FBA. You know, it's time consuming alone, so those are 3 separate issues that you're dealing with, so really, really good initiative.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now that we know that the function is escape, then maybe we could find like alternative behaviors that have the same function. So what do you feel like would be most appropriate or more doable in your classroom?
Functional equivalents. Let's see. So he's trying to leave the classroom because he is escaping an undesirable task. So we need to find a way for him to still escape the task because, you know, we can't just jump from him leaving the classroom, leaving the school, to being a perfect model student in a seat ready to learn. So why don't we have him maybe escape to somewhere that's a safe place in the classroom, like maybe the reading corner, and he could read a preferred book or something? I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea. You know, you're trying to have him stay in the classroom and not elope. So by slowly bringing him in and considering the preferred activities that you mentioned, I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
We could definitely jot that down. I know you're an experienced teacher, and if these cases come up, have you tried any other sort of strategies that worked, or that you may think that might work?
You know, sometimes when students are struggling with their schoolwork, I have them work together in pairs with like a friend that is excelling in the subject, so it helps that student learn, which will be good because then I'm not just focusing solely on helping this one student learn, but, you know, I can also enhance the rest of the class, you know, academic growth. So I guess I could have him work with one of his friends that he respects.
Yeah.
On math?
Yeah. Do you have an identified student?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because his best friend in the class, the one that he doesn't, you know, do the poking and the distracting, whatever, he really respects this child, and this child actually excels in math. So I think that they would be a really great pair.
Wow, yeah, that sounds kind of perfect. So we have the reading, kind of creating a safe place. We also have the pairing of peers. How do you see that working with him, with the pairing?
I think it would work great. Judging from his behaviors, I mean, he's trying to interact with other students during math, so this would be a way for him to interact with students, but, in a productive way.
Okay, good. So I'm going to jot that down. Perhaps like maybe coming up with one more strategy so that you could have your pick of the ones that you're coming up with.
One thing that worries me about all of this is that this is assuming that he's willing to stay inside the classroom while he's trying to escape his math, the difficult task. So I'm trying to think, what's a good way that we could reinforce him staying in the classroom, that, what's a good way to reinforce him staying in the classroom but not leaving the school?
Right, and kind of like not making it super overt to the rest of the students.
Exactly,
right? So
exactly.
Yeah, man, I feel you on that. That was really good. It seems it might be difficult to do, but maybe giving him a heads up, having like preferred activities, like having,
That's a great idea, giving a heads up before we start math, because that way he can prepare himself mentally for the task at hand. Because I think sometimes he feels overwhelmed by math and just is like, oh, I can't do this, he gets really down on himself. I think if we tell him, hey, we're going to start math in 15 minutes, just to let you know, that way he can start getting himself mentally prepared for it,
Yeah, I think that's good. Has that strategy worked for you in the past?
I've tried the pairing with peers in the past. I haven't tried that one before. I think that's a really great idea.
Okay, so let's do like the warning. Okay, so we have these 3 strategies set in place. Great strategies all the way. Do you know which one you want to implement first?
I definitely think what you said with the safe place inside the classroom, I think that's a great idea. Another thing that I think would be good is if we had some sort of reward for him doing this, because it's still the same function. He's still escaping, so I think we need to differentially reward him escaping within the classroom as opposed to escaping outside of the classroom. So even though he's out of his seat, he'll still be doing something productive, and it'll be something that we discussed before, so it's not like he's breaking the rules.
Right.
So I think the first activity I would choose would be reading in the safe place. I really like the idea of warning him before math. I think I would do that in conjunction with the reading in a safe place as an alternative. And then if that doesn't work, I think the pairing with peers would be a good idea. That's something I've tried in the past. So I kind of changed my lesson plans around to do that, but I think it's worth it if our first intervention doesn't work.
Yeah, and I think like you came up with great strategies.
Thank you.
So now with those in mind, do you want to set a timeline? How long would you like to maybe for the intervention to go through before our follow-up and see how it's all going?
I like setting a timeline. Let's see, why don't we do that for, let's give him maybe 2 weeks. Let's give him 2 weeks to work on that, and if we can record his behaviors, we'll see how he's doing, and if he's not getting better, we'll add that as a supplement, and hopefully that will augment our intervention, and things will get better.
Yeah, definitely. And like with this behavior, as sad as it is, it's easy to see whether he's improving or not. So that's kind of like where you'll evaluate and see if the intervention's working.
Definitely.
Yeah, so let me know how it's all going. If you need extra support, resources, I'm always here.
I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. I feel really supported, and I tried talking with other teachers, and their strategies were really great, but it helps to have you, kind of help me take a step back and focus on that singular behavior that was it was the root of all my problems, so thank you.
Oh, no problem. Well, you did most of the work. I'm just here for you to vent. It is a teamwork, and I'd say you did like 95% of the job. I'm just here to listen. But yes, anytime, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
No problem.